When I entered work in the alcoholism field in the late 1960s, I entered at the tail end of the most depraved conditions under which alcoholics were treated in the United States. If somebody would have told me in my earliest days entering the field, Bill, don't despair, because in your lifetime, you will see the wife of a president of the United States on television talking about her recovery.
I'm Betty Ford, and I'm an alcoholic. A recovering woman alcoholic, and I might say very grateful.
The Betty Ford story is an interesting one because it's important to put it in context. By the time we turn into the 1980s, we're going to see a real reversal of some of the positive changes that had begun to unfold in the United States. It had almost become sort of the in thing in some circles to be in recovery during that time period. But very quickly, this was smothered by two things. One was the cocaine epidemic of the 1980s, and all of the incredible images that got then linked into addiction.
The focus has been shifted to cocaine and crack to the extent of ignoring alcohol, the #1 drug of addiction of this country. What has been the result of this profound change in our policy and our thinking? As the leader of a chemical dependency treatment center, I can tell you simply that the real victims of the so-called war on drugs are those who are addicted and the treatment programs designed to help them.
We re-stigmatized, we demedicalized, we recriminalized alcohol and other drug problems. So in that context, to have the wife of a president of the United States coming forward within this era was an enormous act of personal and family courage for that to happen. And it was an incredibly kinetic moment because this was a man's world.
Because alcoholism and drug dependency are mistakenly seen as self-inflicted conditions and characterized as moral failings, healthcare purchasers have been misled into believing that their healthcare dollars could be better spent elsewhere.
We had large numbers of alcohol and drug dependent women hidden within this culture, Betty Ford being one of them. And that ability for her to speak publicly about her treatment and recovery, and to have her family surrounding her in that recovery process, was an incredible turning point in our history.
There was this gratefulness I had that my family truly cared enough to do something about me and to tell me actually that they loved me too much to let me go. They were trying to help me. I had had breast cancer and I had survived that. And now I was confronted with addiction. And by golly, I made up my mind I was going to survive that too.
When we have the Betty Fords of the world stepping forward to put a face and voice on recovery, those stereotypes simply can't be sustained any longer. And as the stereotypes begin to disintegrate from this advocacy effort, by the power of people's stories, then what we can do is come behind that with our advocacy and begin to dismantle the discriminatory structures that really have created obstacles for people seeking and maintaining recovery over time, and building resources that are going to dramatically widen the doorway of entry into long-term recovery for people.
And it's fitting then that I'm speaking here at this center, at the Betty Ford Center. Nearly a year after passing that inspirational woman who brought this place into being, we honor her as a recovery champion, unafraid to break taboos and to speak about issues that affect the lives of millions who need attention but who are too often kept in the shadows. And it was Betty Ford who said, and I quote, "I think I was born to be outspoken. Hopefully it's been a benefit to others."
If I had not found recovery from my own addiction to prescription drugs and to alcohol, I would not have lived to see this day. I would not have lived to see 3 of my children be married. I would not have experienced the joy of being the grandmother of 5 wonderful granddaughters. I know that treatment works, that it saves lives, because it saved mine.